All right. Once again, I want to say good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, depending on wherever you are watching and you are listening from. All right. I know it's been an amazing time, right? Am I correct? Particularly for those in the studio at the live session. Can you just make some shout if you are here live with me? All right. Okay. Yes. So very quickly, we're going to be talking about AI Now Bootcamp and then everything you need to know about the training. All right. Just before we go into that in-depthly, I want us to understand that there is apparently nothing you are doing now that you will not need AI. Tell your neighbor you need AI. All right. Maybe you should say it this way. Say AI has not come to replace me. You know that's the trend now. Everybody is saying everybody is afraid. Everybody is like, very soon now you will be sacked, you will be moved because AI will take your job. Now you also need to position yourself so that AI will not replace you. So that means what you are trying to say is that you will be the one using that AI. So when everybody is scared and skeptical that their job is at stake, you are sitting confidently and then that machine you will be the one to train it. Do we have a witness? All right, so that is what we need to know. And then, having that understanding, AI Now Bootcamp, all right, is a 15-week intensive training. Now, we have had this over the years where people come learn, and then after maybe some few weeks, they got tired, and then they just had reason not to, or probably to stop attending classes and all of that. You don't want to miss any session in this training because you want to position yourself globally for relevance and for the future of works. So for this training, AI Now is a 15 weeks intensive training and then it's broken down into 3 phases. Please follow me carefully because, of course, I know for those of us who have registered, you will have gotten some of these, updates. So you understand what it means and then what you need to know as well. All right, so the 15 weeks program is broken down into 3 phases. And now the 3 phases as number 1 phase is the virtual phase. Now that virtual phase begins today with the orientation that we are having right now. All right? So immediately after the orientation between this week and the 27th, which is next week, is when we are going to be having our onboarding process on the LMS. Now that session will be coming immediately after my session. So everything you need to know about this, what's it called now? The platform where you are going to be using for your classes, your class schedule, and everything you need to know will be coming up immediately. So you need to understand that we have a platform for that. So that is the first session. That is the virtual session. And that will run for the next 8 weeks. So in between the 8 weeks, there are sessions you need to know for either of the courses or tracks that you have selected. You are going to be having 3 classes per week. And that includes an expert-led sessions. So now what we mean by expert-led session is that we have industry experts. Now, let me explain that. That is one game changer we are bringing into this particular training. And what does that mean? Now, say for instance, you have probably applied for data analysis. Now, we are looking for someone who is already working, say for instance, in FCMG, who is working in fintech, who is working in oil and gas, in real data. And then how can you then apply that to what you are learning? So those sections will be happening as we commence our classes. So you don't want to miss any of those classes because by the time we begin the classes, we are having 3 contact sessions per week. And of those 3 sessions per week, one of or some of those sections, of course, will be communicated where we're going to be having those industrial expert-led sessions. Now, after that first session, we go to the second session. The second session is a 1-week physical boot camp. Now, that 1-week physical boot camp, let me say it this way. That would be like more like an heaven. Let me put it that way. I will explain. It's more like heaven. Now, we have quite a number of people, thousands of people applied for this program, right? And that is what we have been doing. We have had a good number of people apply for program. But you see that physical boot camp, it will be the survival of the fittest. And I will tell you why. Because we have also put up some measures, strategies, some metrics that we are going to judge every participant who has registered for this training, and only those people who qualified or who have passed the test of those measures will be invited for the physical boot camp. Now, listen, let me say this carefully. The physical boot camp is not an automatic qualification. This is this first stage is an automatic qualification. So look at your next neighbor. Say, I want to see you at the physical boot camp. All right. Maybe you don't know. Now, somebody from maybe diaspora will now say, what about those of us who are in diaspora? Are we going to do? Trust me, you finish on this first stage and you will see that we get you covered. And then everything you need to know about that session, that is the physical and on-site session, will be communicated to you. So please, the first thing you need to do is you don't want to miss any part of this session. All right. So that's for the, I've discussed about the virtual session. Now, the next thing I want to talk about are the tracks that we have for AI NOW Bootcamp. We have put together 4 major tracks. Now, listen, I know quite a number of people who said, I have registered for this. This is what I registered for. For whatever you have registered for has been categorized under 4 major categories. Now, there is data analysis, there is data science and machine learning, there is data engineering, and then there is generative AI. So now, I know 1 or 2 persons might say, but I registered for natural language processing, I registered for LLM, that's large language models, I registered for geospatial data science, I registered for this and that. All of those have been categorized under a particular category. So for instance, if you have registered for data analysis and visualization, now you have a module that is your target for that training. For instance, for data analysis, you have Excel and then Power BI, which is going to be our core tools that you are going to be using in the class. Now, say for instance, you registered for data science and machine learning. Under data science and machine learning, we have NLP, natural language processing. We have those that register for geospatial data science. We have those that register for LLMs. We have those that registered for, and quite a number of them, right? So all of those have been categorized. So that when you get an email telling you that your class is data science and machine learning, you don't say, no, it is natural language processing I registered for. Now, all of this is boils down into the tools where you are going to be using in class. Don't forget, I also mentioned to us that while we are in class, we are going to be having expert-led sessions. So these expert-led sessions are use cases, industry use cases. That means, for instance, now, if you are in data engineering or data science and machine learning, and then we are talking about Python, I know somebody will not say that. When are we? Python sounds like snake. Don't worry. If you don't have any understanding about that, it's not all right. Maybe I should even mention anaconda as well. And so why are we mentioning snakes? All these are not snakes. They are just tools, right? By the time you get there, you understand better. All right? So these are platforms. These are tools that you're going to be using. So there is the fundamental tools that takes you into the class before you now go to your use cases. Say, for instance, for those of us who are in natural language processing and then LLMs, where you are going to be building training models and then testing models. So all of this, fundamentally, you are going to be working with what we call Python, and then that's where you are going to be doing the elementary of coding. Some are no coding. Now, I know somebody is already saying, but I said I don't want to do anything that has to do with coding. Fear not, right? There are also AI, enabled artificial intelligence enhancements now that you can leverage on. All right, you don't have to code to be an AI enthusiast. I think somebody will be excited at that. Yes. So I have just taken away the fear of someone. So you don't get to say that the reason why I have not registered for any of your training is because I fear code. Right? While I cannot tell you categorically that you will not code or you will not come across it, I am also telling you there's always a way out of it. All right? So because we also have some platforms that has been made available for little or no code. Power platforms, for instance. If you are working with power platforms, you might not even have to do any single line of code. And then you get your applications ready, automations, agents, and all of that. And then you have all of this working for you. So for people in data engineering, for people who register for data architecture, data engineering, and then all of that, you also have your tools that you're going to be using. And lastly is the generative AI. Now, for those in generative AI, I can assure you are in for good stuff. You know why? Because we are working with industry-based and experienced facilitators. People who are not just because they know, they are given to training, right? This is what they do in their day-to-day. And then they are going to be bringing us into real-life industrial experience. For instance, for generative AI, you're going to see how you can train a model for text to speech. from speech to text. No, I know some of these days. Now, let me tell you what is probably common on the internet. Now, probably you see someone's picture, and then you are trying to compare what you are seeing as the person's picture and the person's real life, particularly if it's someone that you know. I don't know if somebody can relate to what I'm saying. Maybe you just say, this person is not as fine as what I'm saying. The person has just used generative AI. He has just generated image. So, stuff like that. And then the next thing you not see at the comment section is send what? Only few people get that. Send prompt. So you don't understand. All right. You just send prompts. So by the time they send you prompt, do some little tweak to it, you just see yourself that you are fine as well. That's what they do. And then somebody will say, pay money, and then now you can learn it and then do it by yourself. Right? So these are some of the things you also be saying when you are in class. And basically, let me also bring, what's it called now, to the 4 tracks, is that we are going to be leveraging on training and testing of models. Now, say for instance, when we are talking about data analysis, data science, and all of that, there are 3 things that is very, very common, and then I need you to pay attention to them. Where something like supervised learning, unsupervised learning, then reinforcement learning. Now, all of these are this is not the class, right? But all of these are what we're going to be seeing in the class, because, for instance, for those of us that have a mathematical understanding, where you said when something is true for 1, and then you have tested it that is true for 2, and then you have tested it for 3 and 4, you can as well assume that it will be true for n, right? So that same approach is what you are bringing to your class to say, okay, I have a model that I want to train. So by the time you train your model, you are also testing that model. And then at the end of the day, when you are done testing your model, you can now call yourself a data scientist or a data engineer, as the case may be. All right? So those are the things we need to know for our courses, right? Just like I've mentioned earlier, that there are metrics. But just before I reiterate the metrics, for our class schedules, now we are having 3 contact, like I said, 3 contact sections per week, and all the classes will be within that week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or as the case may be. When you get your schedule, you know when your classes are. But your class schedule is 3 times contact per week, and of that 3 times contact per week, fortnight or once in a while, you will be getting an invitation for the expert sessions. And the classes are 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Nigeria time. I'm saying this because of our diaspora audience. Please let me say this again. For those who probably your time zone is not in real time, and then you are asking, probably, what if you're at work and then you want to come back and watch your classes at a later time? You can as well do that, right? You can as well do that so that you can practice, and then in case you have a KPI to meet, or probably you have an assignment to jump on, you can as well still do that. And all of that, by the time we get on our LMS walkthrough, you will see what you need to do. Please, you don't want to miss that section, because it might actually be the basis for you to start this journey. So our classes are 2 hours per session, plus or minus, and then you will enjoy. Now, our training expectations. Now, you heard when my senior manager was talking about some of the things, by God's grace, that we have done at the Incubator Hub when people have just come for training here and what they do currently, right? All right, so sometimes last week I was at an event, at a tech event, and then I was also privileged to actually see, not the first time, this was just last week, Friday, thereabout. Saw quite a number of people that took training with us, and they said, Incubator. In fact, they don't even want to know your name. What they want to know is the organization. Incubator. Yes, this is this. I met someone on camp recently, and I was actually at a meeting, at a program, and then I saw this person just ran towards me and said, can I recognize? I said, no, but I'm trying to. I said, oh, yes, I remember that you came for, was Future Clan. Like, you came for Future Clan. And then this woman began to give me how she came. She came to Future Clan with a baby, right? This woman came with a baby. So when she came, she was almost discouraged that she was going back home with her baby, because we had earlier announced that when you are coming, just come alone, because we had made provisions for free accommodations and then free transportation. So coming with the baby is a double decision on us. So she was almost coming, but I asked her, and we asked her a few questions. Why did you come? She said she just thought within herself that this is what she needs, and then she wanted to give it her best shot. All right. So magnanimously, we had her settle, and then we made the best, gave her the best comfort she could get. Interestingly, she was not the only person that came with the baby. So we had a good number of them. So we had them lodged in a very comfortable, so where they can all In fact, some of them came with their caregivers, and their caregivers were still lodged and were fed, all joined, right? But the good news is, I saw that woman afterwards, and then she told me that between that future client, which was barely less than 2 years, and now she has changed her job like 3 times. Now, she did not just change, transited from one job role to the other. And that what she's doing currently, she's doing it from the comfort of her house. That she's not resuming in any office. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure. I think she had. I saw her that day carrying another baby after the first I saw her with. So that means, so that means she's good, all right. And this is just within the comfort. So now, what am I trying to say? I know so many of us, we are seeing some of these opportunities, but it's not making any sense to us. If I'm not learning this, I will learn that. Well, all the best to you. Tell your neighbor all the best to you. Okay. Maybe if you are watching online, you can also type all the best to you so that you know you are giving yourself all the best. All right. So we have done this, and then again, this is going to be another time for us to equip people for global relevance. So we are expecting that when you are coming to your class, we are not collecting a dime from you. All you just need from you is your commitment. And apart from your commitment, of course, you need to come with your what? Your system or your gadget fully charged. And then you want to also practicalize. Don't say you want to join and then you will practicalize later. The best way to learn is while your facilitator is doing it. You know, I've had 1 or 2 sessions, training sessions like that, and while I was in class trying to give some instructions, I see 1 or 2 people call back and said they can't get this, and then it's so easy to quickly identify where you're not getting it. So even if you have to go back and check and rewatch and all of that, you have crossed the first level of knowledge, right? So please, when you are coming to class, you don't want to miss all of those things you need to bring along. Now, by the end of the program, you will understand AI applications. That is our expectations. We believe you will understand the applications of AI, what you can do with it, and the opportunities that you can actually fit into. Again, I say, the revolution that we have now has made it so comfortable for you to be in the corner of your home, right, your corner of your house, and then you are working comfortably. That means you don't have to report physically at any 9 to 5. I have people who are running maybe 2, 3 jobs together right now, right? I'm telling you for fact, like doing, while they are in one place physically, they are also answerable to some organization. That is what AI has made available. All right, so now there are merits. Like I said, for those that will qualify for the physical boot camp, it's kingdom of God. You know what I mean, the kingdom of God? You have to what? It's for the only the what? Those that will put in efforts to it. Now, there are several metrics. I'll just give us a few of them. Number one thing is attendance to class is very compulsory. Now, we have a metrics. By the time you are taking your LMS walkthrough, you understand. There is a metrics that are taking your attendance when you get to the class. When you report to the class, the time you are taking your class, either you are just checking in. You know when you say just checking, let me check in. I said, I have come here and I am going out again. They will not kuku know. They will know. All right? So you don't want to just check in and check out. Stay in the class and learn, because we have all of those documented somewhere. So for those people who are probably taking some of our trainings before, after the whole training, you get an invitation that you've successfully completed the training. Maybe you don't know. Not everybody gets that email, in case you have gotten. Or maybe you got one recently from us. Not everybody got that email. And I have the statistics, so it's not something I'm thinking. It's something I know. Right? So attendance is very, very compulsory. Now, we have class activities. There are several class activities that will be coming during the class session, and this is to reinforce the learning, journey, and experiences. We don't want a situation where people are just coming to class and then learning, there is no use case. So there will be several use cases for you, and then you need to be turning in those assignments at the appropriate time. The last training we had, we were so magnanimous that we opened, in fact, there was a time my boss said, let's open this so that we can allow as many people to enter in, so that people can finish their project or take their exam or take their quiz or take their assessment and all of that. Well, while I cannot promise you, but then you don't want to miss the first level opportunity that you have to take all of those things, because there will be assessment, there will be class activities, there will be quiz. And of course, after which there will now be what? Examinations. Now, after the examinations, just before your examinations, you are going to be working on live projects, right? Hey, somebody say, all of this, no. Yes, those are some of the things we'll be doing. So when you are done with all of this, by the time we put all of this together, you have a dashboard. On your dashboard, we are looking at a particular threshold. And if your score is not up to that threshold, I am so sorry, you might not be invited for the physical bootcamp. Now, let me whet your appetite a little. For the physical bootcamp, we are also bringing in some, not just industry experts, but also some organizations who have the potentials of hiring people live. So if you are going to be privileged for it, don't worry, it's strictly by invitation. This one is not because I stay around or in the area where it's done, I will enter, or I know the people concerned. It's strictly by invitation. So you want to meet all the metrics that you need so that you will not be disqualified for that. So all successful applicants for the virtual session will be invited for the physical bootcamp. Now, finally, opportunities after the bootcamp. So one of the things we are doing again this time around, we have done this over and over as I gradually wrap up, is that we have, by God's grace, have people who have graduated from Incubator Hub, and then they are doing well and fine in industry. And then we have had organizations who have also reached out to us and said, I want so, giving us their job description that, do we have people from our pool of students? Now, one of the things we are also making available provision for in this session is that apart from you learning, there are also soft skill sessions that you will also learn. Now, those soft skill sessions, we position you to put your CVs together and all your portfolios. Now, that is one thing I think I have not mentioned earlier. I can assure you in all of these classes, you are building your portfolio such that when someone asks you that, what can you do? You are not thinking of what to say. You are saying, can I share a link with you briefly? And then by the time you drop the link, the person says, oh, come. You did all of this, and then that's all. The next is, do you get what I'm saying? So if you don't get it. All right. So all of this is what we are also hoping for. So immediately after the training, we are also making at least opportunities available for people who will stand through the test of time and then will be qualified for such opportunities. I know probably you have, particularly for those who are watching live and then you are listening from wherever you have, maybe one or two questions. You please just drop them on the comment section. We have our guys putting all of those together, and then during the question and answer session, we are going to be attending to them. Now, like I said, all of these that I've mentioned will be made possible if only after your registration you pay careful attention to your LMS walkthrough. For your LMS walkthrough, you are going to be getting an invitation for it after this session so that you will know what to do next. So I want to say that you are in for the best. And I can assure you and I can promise you for the first 8 weeks of this journey that will be starting on the 27th, which is next week, till the next 8 weeks, please, you don't want to miss anything. And I believe you are ready for this. If you are ready, I want you to type or say it to the next person. Say, I am ready. All right, thank you very much. Let's have a wonderful time.